And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday morning, Dr. Sem Yankees Show, May the 16th. Now, sometimes it's frustrating to record these a day early because the Yankees played last night against the Mets in the first game of the Subway Series, and I have no idea how it turned out because obviously the game hasn't happened yet as I am recording this. As a baseball fan, and I think all baseball fans understand this, we look at our teams differently day to day. When they're winning, we feel good about the team. When they're losing, we feel bad about the team. It's one of the joys of baseball, the daily ebb and flow of our emotions day to day. Oh, they won. They won last night. I am feeling good. Or they lost last night. I am just miserable. So let's hope the Yankees won last night. But heading into last night's game, the Yankees have not been playing well. It's all of a sudden becoming somewhat of a disaster. They lost on Wednesday to the Baltimore Orioles 7-0. On Tuesday, they beat the Orioles 6-2. On Monday, they lost to the Orioles 3-2. And that was coming after a weekend against the Milwaukee Brewers where they got swept. So over their last 6 games heading into last night, the Yankees were 1-5. Now, of course, the Mets have not been very good this year, so I'm sure the Mets are looking at this series as a chance maybe to start to right the ship. I'm sure the Yankees are looking at the Mets and saying, this is our chance to right the ship. So it'll be an interesting weekend. And of course, we will have all the updates to that game on the Start Spreading the News show, which airs Monday nights at 9 p.m. You know, one of the concerns about the Yankees this year is the offense, because in a sense, you could use the word it's offensive. The Yankees just are not doing great offensively. Now, it's interesting when over the winter, when fans bring this kind of stuff up, and, you know, I write a Yankee blog. This is on the Yankee blog, of course. There it is. Start Spreading the News. We put out 3 articles every single day, 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. But when fans point out obvious concerns about the team, and we have a very vibrant comment section, there are those who comment, even when you're making a good point. Sometimes people like to argue about anything, and I found that over the years. We've run Start Spreading the News since 2017. There are those that on one day you could argue Thurman Munson belongs in the Hall of Fame, and they'll argue against you just for the sake of saying you're wrong. And then a year later, you write Thurman Munson, or somebody else writes Thurman Munson doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. And then they write, you're wrong. Like, there are those that just want to argue no matter what. They'll take both sides of an issue and argue it just for the sake of arguing it. But anyway, when people wrote articles or wrote into articles and pointed out the many concerns about the Yankees offense heading into the season, if you remember, over the winter, the Yankees basically did nothing. They sat on their hands and waited until Cody Bellinger was ready to re-sign. That was the extent of the Yankees' off-season planning. It's the same thing they did a number of years ago with DJ LeMahieu. We are rendered incompetent until you can decide what you're doing. The player dictated what the team was doing. But anyway, there were those that argued that the Yankee offense just doesn't look great heading into the season. And the reply every single time, were people writing in and saying, well, they led the league in runs. I remember writing an article and pointing out that the Yankees have led the league in runs numerous times over the last many years. And do you know how many world championships that's bought them? 0. And then people argue that away. Well, it's not all about run scoring. Well, I just argued that the Yankees don't even look like they're going to score runs. And your response is they led the league in runs. So then I respond, well, but that doesn't really prove anything anyway, because it's not helping them win, but it's going to be even worse coming into this season. And the response is, well, they led the league in runs. And then you say, right, but even if they do, it doesn't prove anything because they still don't win the World Series. And they go, but they led the league in runs. You got to score runs. Like, we get into these circular arguments that, anyway, heading into the season, it was logical to say Austin Wells is not much of a major league hitter. Heading into the season, Austin Wells had played in the 2023 season, 19 games, batted .229. In 2024, he played in 115 games and batted .229. In 2025, he played in 126 games and batted .219. Only once has he had an OPS plus over 100. That was in 2024 when it was barely over 100 at 104. It was logical. It was reasonable. It was a fair criticism or concern to say that I don't know if Austin Wells is really going to hit this year. The Yankees don't have much of a hitter in Austin Wells. And then people, of course, said, well, yeah, they do. He's going to hit this year. The only reason he hasn't hit is he's been injured. Well, in 2026, and we're past the small sample size, 33 games he's played, 120 plate appearances, 100 at-bats, he's batting 180. That's a problem. Then many people noted that Anthony Volpe is not a good hitter. And the answer was, Volpe's fine. Well, Volpe isn't fine. He was just called up. He's played in one game. He's already made one error. But even in AAA, in a very limited amount of games, but in AAA, he was only hitting .205, and he was hitting under .230 during his entire minor league rehab. So that was a concern. And then one of the big concerns was Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham had a big year last year, I was not a believer. I didn't believe he could do it. He did do it. That's great. I was not a believer he could repeat that. And I pointed out, as many have, that in let's get the net right here, 2022, he played in 152 games and batted 184. Then in 2023, he played in 153 games and batted 198. Then in 2024, he played in 76 games and batted 190. That's 3 consecutive years where he didn't even hit 200. And then last year, out of the blue, out of nowhere, he plays in 143 games. He hits 235 and he blasts 34 home runs. Where that came from, nobody knows. But when you look at it over the last many years, that was the outlier. That was the aberration. That was not normal. It was logical and sound to think heading into the 2026 season that Trent Grisham would be more like the hitter he had been in 3 of the 4 previous seasons than he was in the outlier season. Well, many people disagree. No, he turned the corner. He's only going to be 29 this year. He proved he can hit. Well, this year in 43 games, again, not a small sample size anymore, 137 at-bats, he's hitting a robust 175. And then there's the other player who we should talk about, who forms that up the middle part of the lineup, who there is and has been concerns about, and that's Jazz Chisholm. And many people will point out that he has super talent that, before the season, he said he was going to be a 50-50 guy. He was a 30-30 guy last year. And you say, he's a rare talent. Jazz Chisholm is a rare talent. He is a big-time hitter. Well, let's go through it. His first full season was 2021. He hit 248. He had 18 homers. He had an OPS plus of 95. So he was an under-average major league hitter. In 2022, he hit 254 with 14 home runs. He had a 138 OPS plus, and it looked like, he's coming around. He's going to be the player everybody thought he would be. Then in 2023, he batted 250. He had 19 home runs and an OPS plus of 99, making him strictly an average major leaguer. In 2024, he played for Miami and the Yankees. For Miami, he hit 249. For the Yankees, he hit 273. Altogether, his OPS plus was 110. It was a little better for the Yankees at 131. Worse for Miami at 101 as far as OPS plus, but overall it was 110. And then last year he had a good year, 242 batting average. Again, he hit 31 homers. He stole 31 bases. He drove in 80 runs, and he had an OPS plus of 122. But it's been wildly inconsistent, as you can see. Pretty good, not so good. And then this year, he's actually playing to a negative 0.1 WAR. He's been a negative player. He's hitting only 203. He has only 4 home runs, and his OPS plus is a paltry 69. In 43 games, Jazz Chisholm has struck out 50 times. In 43 games, Jazz Chisholm has struck out 50 times. And when people pointed out that Jazz Chisholm has been an erratic hitter throughout his major league career, and Trent Grisham hasn't been a great hitter throughout his major league career, and Anthony Volpe is not and has never been a good hitter, and Austin Wells is not and has not yet, maybe ever, been a good hitter, people would respond by saying that's ridiculous. Wells is going to hit. Volpe's going to hit. Jazz Chisholm proved he can hit. Trent Grisham proved he can hit. And all of the criticisms are just mocked or laughed away. But you know what? Here it is halfway through May, and those criticisms have all proven, at least through the first month and a half of the season, to have been accurate and real. This is the team that Brian Cashman built. And then you add to that, well, you say, you know what, our third baseman isn't really a guy who can hit. Oh, he's going to hit. He's got a new batting stance. How many times have you heard, if you're a longtime fan, when a new season's beginning, that a player has a new workout regimen, that a player has a new diet, that a player has a new approach at the plate, that a pitcher has developed a new pitch, that he gained a couple of miles an hour on his fastball, that he is trimmed down and he is in the best shape of his career? Sports writers make a living out of writing those articles every single year in spring training. Then they get players or quotes from players to say, he's never looked so good. He's at the best shape. The ball is jumping off his bat, or the ball is exploding into the catcher's glove. I wouldn't want to be a pitcher facing him this year. He's such a good hitter. Or I wouldn't want to be a batter facing that pitcher. I've never seen such great pitches. I've never seen such movement. And then the reality of the season comes, and the player is the same player he's been forever. Ryan McMahon, a lifetime 237 hitter. That's including this year. But look at these numbers for the last many years, his whole career, in fact. Let's go back to 2018. He hit 232. 2019, he hit 250. 2020, he hit 215. 2021, he hit 254. 2022, he hit 246. 2023, he hit 240. 2024, he hit 242. In 2025, for two teams overall, he hit 214. And this year, he's hitting 196. The guy's never hit. But worse, remember, OPS plus, if you have 100, you're an average major league hitter. If it's under 100, you're a below average hitter. Let's go through his numbers year by year. You ready? If it's under 100, you're a below average hitter. 72, 88, 80, 98, 98. Oh, he was so close twice. 94, 93, 87. This year, 62. The player, Ryan McMahon, has never, not once, ever been a league average hitter. And so when a fan at the beginning of the season or over the winter was saying there's a lot to be concerned about with the Yankees, I believe that those people that told those people that were concerned that they shouldn't be concerned that the Yankees score a lot of runs should probably say, so far, and maybe you could be proven wrong, but so far, those of you who had concerns about the Yankees offense were correct. Instead of saying you're so wrong, instead of saying, well, the Yankees score a lot of runs, they always score the most amount of runs, maybe those people that were looking at the Yankees offense and saying there's a lot of concerns here, maybe they were right. To date, they have been. We'll see if this continues to prove itself out over the season. But those who were concerned about Jazz Chisholm and Trent Grisham and Anthony Volpe, granted Volpe's been injured, but he wasn't hitting during his rehab in the minors, and Austin Wells and Ryan McMahon, those people are 100% justified. And then yearly, we're concerned about Giancarlo Stanton, because the guy cannot stay healthy. Giancarlo Stanton. Let's take a look at Giancarlo Stanton. How many games does he miss every year? In 2018, his first year as a Yankee, he was terrific. He played in 158 games. Then the next year he played in 18. Then the next year he played in 23 out of only 60 because it was the COVID year. Then 139. That's pretty good. Not great, but then 110. 101, 114, then 77, and now this year he's played in just 24 games. He's injured again, and no one knows when he's coming back. If that's the team you're building around Grisham, Volpe, Chisholm, Wells, and McMahon. 5 guys who I think it's fair to say might not hit. And then your 6th guy is your DH, who you say is probably not going to be in the lineup because he can't stay on the lineup. That's a lot of concerns to try to build an offense around. But they led the league in runs last year. Okay. It hasn't resulted in a world championship, but even with that being the case, to say that there's a concern that they're not going to score runs next year, this year, was real. And that's playing itself out. Now, overall, the Yankees are still doing okay. They're in 2nd place. I think they're 2 games out right now. They're 27-17. According to Baseball Reference, they have a 98.8% chance to win to make the postseason, and basically an 18% chance to win the World Series. It could all happen. But there are other concerns. The bullpen looks terrible. And now Max Fried, who has been their best pitcher, is possibly injured. We don't know. But the Yankee injury history, when they say it's not much of a concern, how many players have the Yankees said it's not really much of a concern when they first have an injury and then the player's out for 3 months? Or the other thing the Yankees do is keep playing them like they did with Anthony Rizzo and Anthony Volpe last year. You know, Volpe at the end of the year after he didn't do well, they said, oh, he's hurt all year. And Austin Wells. They played Jose Trevino a couple of years ago with a broken hand or a broken couple fingers. And then they're like, well, he was hurt. Well, if he was that bad, why was he in the lineup? They're frustrating. So let's hope, because as I'm recording this, they're frustrating because they keep losing. Let's hope they won last night. And then everybody on Saturday, today, can be saying, well, they won. They beat the Mets. It's a step. Every day with baseball, our outlook of our team depends on what happened in the previous game. And because it's a long season, we have those ups and downs. And those ups and downs are what makes it all fun. Hey, my friends, let's not forget that this program is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia is a traditional publisher in the United States of America who puts out a great selection, a huge selection, a plethora of fantastic books in a variety of genres. And they've published numerous books that I have written, of course, including the great and wonderful, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. This is my newest book. If you haven't read this yet, you need to. It's fantastic. I'm getting rave reviews from friends. Hey, if you've read the book and you love it, please go on Amazon and Goodreads and give it 5 stars. So many people say, I love your book. I love your book. It's the guy that it's just so engaging. I can't put it down. But then they don't go to Amazon and give it 5 stars. Go to Amazon and give it 5, only if you love it. But go to Amazon if you love it and give it 5 stars. Artemisia is also published, The Least Among Them, an award-winning book, a fantastic book. This one is just, again, people have raved about this book. If you haven't read The Least Among Them, you're missing out. They have published my wonderful motivational book, 365.2, A Runner's Journey. You need some motivation, you need something to get you going, read this book. They have published the award-winning From Compton to the Bronx by Roy White and me. This is also a great book. David Cohn, numerous times on Yankee broadcasts, has said how much he loves this book. And, of course, they also published the world's greatest novel, my novel, Scattering the Ashes. If you haven't read Scattering the Ashes, your life is incomplete. You need to read Scattering the Ashes because it will make everything in your life better. It's the greatest book, the greatest novel ever written by me. You can also get the audiobook narrated by me. But, of course, there's one other publisher I just have to mention real quickly, my good friends at Sunbury Press. You can go to sunburypress.com that way. And they published my first Civil War book, the award-winning, well, it's not award-winning yet, the highly recognized and impressive West Point at Gettysburg. The greatest Civil War historian of our time, James McPherson, said, Paul Semendinger has produced a unique volume that is a combination reference work, collective biography, and narrative of the Battle of Gettysburg. In all of these capacities, it will be of great value to anyone interested in the American Civil War, especially its biggest and most famous battle. Go to sunburypress.com and get yourself a copy of West Point at Gettysburg. Again, if you read any of those books or all of those books, and if you haven't, you should, go to Goodreads, go to Amazon, only if you love those books, and give them 5 stars. Remember, this program is also part of the wonderful Yankee Network. The Yankee site starts spreading the news. Nobody covers the Yankees as well as we do. Make today a great day. Give kindness, give understanding, show empathy, show gratitude, and give love to others. Remember, when we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a Yankee fan. Thank you for coming to Start Spreading the News. Have yourself a wonderful day. Look to the bright side always, because there always is a bright side. Have a great day.